Hey kids, welcome to Screaming Mosquito Studios. We're down here pretty much every day, whether I'm practicing musical instruments or songwriting or doing some editing or recording drum tracks and bass tracks for other people. This is where I'm hiding. So a couple of updates. If you're wondering why I'm not playing live, well, I've tried a couple of bands to get going, and early on, starting last August, and I couldn't get one going. I had all the best guys possible, but just couldn't get it going. Then I said, well, screw that. After 3 months, it's kind of a waste of time. Then I had another band just recently, and all good guys, good musicians, but one of my things is I want everybody to have equal share in music. It's got to be equal share. I want equal share with every musician, so everybody gets a taste of their music in there. I'm not going to go back to what I did with Soundcheck and just played one guy's music for 13 years. Not doing that ever again. Your chops get killed by playing other people's stuff. You don't get to express your own taste in music and what inspires you on your own instrument. So I'm never, ever going to go back to that. So the band I just finished with fell into that same thing where it was a bunch of that band's songs, and then was 20-something songs before I even got one in. I don't care anymore. It's like I'm in my 60s. It's like, if you can't do it fairly, don't even bother calling, because I'll just stay down here, because I want a nice even spread of everybody's taste. I've always wanted it that way. I always had it with bands in the past. I don't know what it is in the recent years, but yeah, everybody's got to have their taste and make them want to stay in an environment. For me now, it's like I've got this. I can stay down here every single day and have fun with it. But for live playing, which I love playing live, I will not go to that one-person domination thing or a two-person domination thing ever again. Never, never, never. It's not fun. You're in it for the job, for the money. And that's basically all I felt I was with the previous band I was with for 13 years. It was just give me the money. It was not fun. So that's the scoop. Frustrating to say the least. We start off, you say, good guys, good musicians, this last thing. And I do have musicians for 2 other bands, but I don't have it complete yet. I'm still looking for specific members. That's the trouble. It's hard to find the musicians that can dedicate the time to what I want to do, which is play quite a bit. So I found that, well, a lot of musicians can't play full time. So what I did was I started 2 separate bands. Drones Over Jersey is one, and Bing Bang Boom is the other one. Bing Bang Boom. So I have individual musicians lined up for that, but nothing concrete. I'm still short a couple of key members for both. I've had a lot of people interested, but I need specific players to play styles of various styles, and I find it's a lot of players right now, they're just focused on one style and they won't play a variety of others. You end up learning a lesson by just playing one style. Is when your style goes out of style, you can't play anymore. because you're stuck. What are you going to do? So you got to get a variety. I want a variety of musicians that can play multiple styles. It's more fun that way. It opens up a whole bunch of avenues. But the whole band has to be a democratic thing. It's even money. Everybody does the workload. Everybody gets to share. Everybody gets to taste on where they want to play. It's just, it's got to be a fair thing. So, anyways, those two bands are kind of in the back burner right now. So I've been doing fill-ins. I've done fill-ins for like Bourbon Blue and a couple other private things for other bands that weren't bar related, but still fun to do. But yeah, that's a scoop. But the good thing is, since my main band finished in this past January, I've dedicated so much time to practicing and working on my material and doing tracks for other people that it's just been super fun. So I'm not bored, by any means. Playing live is definitely a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. Down here, I just come down and I plop behind one of the instruments and behind my soundboard, and away I go. So that's like no stress, no issues. I can just go with it. I mean, live definitely has, the physical part of setting up and all that. And then, you have the, what's the term? Can't think of the word. To basically last, the 2 nights of heavy playing. I know when I played with Bourbon Blue, they play a lot during the night, very short 2 breaks. And that was weird to get used to, because they're like a marathon band. They want to play, and very little breaks. So as a drummer, physically, I noticed it right away. I was like, whoa. I'm used to like three breaks. Not that I'm lazy, it's just the way the bands have done it for the last while. This band does not do it that way. So they play a lot of music, which is great. I love it. It just takes a little bit to get used to. And so I've had fun filling in with them. And the other private guys were just bands that were thrown together for special events that I did with some local musicians. Was fun, just for private parties and stuff. So yeah, so that's the scoop. Right now, like I just finished 2 originals that I like all the structure and stuff, so I just got to do the final mixes. I have another 4 almost done. I just put 2 of my older ones up there. I changed the mixes and stuff just for something to do. I found the problem I have is a lot of my older stuff was recorded on old gear, and it's hard to bring that old stuff back to sound what my new gear can produce. So that's a little bit kind of a bummer, but you can't keep going back and redoing your songs. And I don't mean in a sense like re-recording the parts. The parts are there to stay. But there were some things that I found as I went through them track by track and looking at the plugins and stuff. I found there were some issues that I missed before. So I changed a bunch of plugins to more modern day plugins, because those ones were recorded on an older system with older plugins. And it just got to the point where I was finding all these weird little glitches. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to take all those plugins out and kind of redo it. So I didn't change the mixes that much, but I'll tell you, adding the plugins, the newer plugins made a difference to my ears. Most people wouldn't probably notice it, but to my ears I noticed it. Also, in some of the songs, when you're recording a wave file across, like if you're hitting a kick drum, boom, and it's recording all the way through. So there's space between the kick drum hits that's recorded space. Now, in most cases, I'll leave that. I know a lot of people will chop all that stuff out. The problem I don't like with chopping out that dead air is you can make a mistake, and you might not find it till the very end, and there's no way to recoup it, and then you're kind of screwed that you have to redo the part in one section, or I mean, very rarely this happens, but tying off the tail ends of a wave file, like say if it's a guitar riff, tying off the ends, bringing them in. If there's dead air on those, just those small sections, bring them in close, and you'll find that your mix cleans up quite a bit by cutting all that dead air out in certain spots. So also, you know, with drums there's a lot of bleed issues, so I experimented with so many types of noise gates. And I found the ones that came with, you know, software packages I bought, they worked okay, but I mean, drums definitely have a lot of bleed, and the more mics you have in a drum set, like mine over here has a lot of mics, the bleed issue can be a little more intense. So I found some cool totally drum related only software plugins, and I experimented with them. One of them was actually free, and it's been fantastic, and the other one is one I bought just for screwing around. One of my favorite drummers is Gavin Harrison, and mentioned this plugin, so I said, well, I'm gonna give it a try anyways, and it works pretty good. So because sometimes the bleed, when you're doing a mix and you're punching out the volume and compressing and stuff like that, one little bleed note from a snare or something that's in there that's a little bit honky sounding gets amplified by all the plugins you put on it, and then it just starts sounding like an anvil. I'm exaggerating, but it just hits my ears like, you know, hitting with a hammer. And then there's an easy way of doing it. You can just kind of find that note and bring it down in level, and there's all little tricks. But like I said, I don't like to cut out too much of that dead air. There's an ambience in there too that you lose. But on a kick drum, if there's some bleed in there that's really annoying, it's either really, I mean, some guys will trigger a kick drum. I've done that on one track and didn't like it. So the other option is to you know, cut out all that dead air and re-cue the kick and try and work it from there. I've tried lots of stuff. I mean, that's the fun about being down in my own studio, is just experimenting. I love it. I learn something new every couple of days mixing that I didn't know before. I'm never going to be an engineer that's working on people's albums, okay? Let's get that straight. I would never put the time in to do that. It's not what I want to do. I have my love of writing songs, recording them, playing the instrument. That's what I want to do. When it goes online, if people hate the sound of it or it needs tweaking or whatever, I might tweak it. But once it's out of my hands and, you know, out for people's ears, you know, to listen to, that's fine. They're getting it for free anyways. I don't charge anything for my songs anymore. Don't get enough views to make a difference anyways. So it's just so the market for original material is flooded. It's absolutely flooded. So it's really hard to put a price on your stuff and expect to make a cent off of it. I'd rather just get it out and have people enjoy it, like I enjoy it. So I'm never going to get rich on this. I've never gotten rich being a musician for 40 something years. So, you know, it's just, you got to have a lot of luck, and I don't have it. So I have a lot of time to play with this stuff, but you got to have luck, and it's where I live, it's just not going to happen. So I'd have to relocate, and that's not going to happen because I'm settled here now. I'm in my 60s, so this is just fun and enjoyment, and you know, I mean, a lot of people are in the same boat, but it's just fun. So anyways, what we're doing today is I'm working on, I've been writing with a friend, Tony, for, God, years. So we have like 80 something, well, no, it's probably over that now, 100 and something ideas and songs, basically. But they weren't all finished, so we had finished over the last while. We finished a whole batch of them, 22 of them. So they're all ready to go, and just, you know, I'm tweaking them every once in a while. I give my ears a rest, put them away for a while. But, you know, we want to release this stuff, and I'm putting more time into this than I am my own stuff. But I'm trying to clean up some bleed in drum tracks, and any funny little noises I hear on a guitar track at the tail end, you know, when you finish your part and then you're kind of squeaking the strings. You got to get all that stuff out. So you shorten up all the wave files, and you know, I'm going to show you just a smidge of what I'm doing here on this particular song. Now, this song's called Horizon, and this is a song that we wrote a long time ago. Tony, he pretty much came up with the whole vocal melody. I'm just doing the working on a kick drum part here that's got some bleed in it, and not like I can use a debleeder, which is a fancy word for a noise gate, but a debleeder for drums does a little bit more. And anyways, so in this case, though, the kick drum patterns are very sparse in one section, and it's pointless to leave all that dead air in there, so I'm just cutting it out. Not affecting the hits that I made when I originally recorded the drum tracks. I have the original always backed up without anything trimmed, without anything, just a raw track. I still have all those backed up, so it's not like if I screw this up, I don't have another copy. I have copies, so I recommend everybody do that. I learned that the hard way. Everybody learns it the hard way. When you start losing stuff due to a hard drive failure, they do happen. So I'm just going to give you a few seconds of this. And so you can see that's kick drum hit, kick drum. I run 3 kick drum tracks. Kick 1, 2, and a sub kick. So sometimes I'll run 4. So a kick 1, kick 2, and kick 3. Kick 3 is a sub kick, which is that right there. Then that's kick 2, and then there's one inside the kick. So the one inside the kick is like off the beater 3 inches and then 3 inches off center. So you get the click sound. Then the Sennheiser on the outside gives you more of the punch, and then the sub kick gives you a little bit of a low kind of gives you a little bit of low power punch, I guess you'd call it. So here's the scoop. That's a snare hit in there. Sorry if I can't hold this steady. I've got the shakes. So I've highlighted this, and you just take it away. All this is sound. When the kick drum's not being hit, it's still recorded sound, so it's like air sound, like So and there's another bleed. I want those out in this particular section. So, and then we just feather. This is what I call feathering the ends. So right now, this dead air, which is not contributing to the sound in a good way, and it's also taking up resources, because this takes up memory space, storage space, takes up storage space. So when you eliminate it, you save on space. So, like I say, I've got gates here. You can see the gates written in here. And they take that out, but I basically still hear a little bit in. Now, the other problem is when you start using plugins like this, if I had to use a lot of noise gates, normally, like, you could probably put it into a subgroup and have the gates flying with all the different parts, but I found that doesn't work exactly great. So I have a gate on each part of the drum set that needs a gate. And it's usually the kick drum, maybe a floor tom. But I'm not a big fan of gates, but in this case, it's saving me a little misery down the road when I'm doing the final mix. So the debleeder works great too, but sometimes, say if that was a whole drum fill and stuff, it's hard to tag off the end of that drum fill before this kick drum. There's always some little weird kind of extra note that sneaks its way through the gate as it opens up for the kick drum. I've tried it in multiple settings, and I'm still working with the new debleeder that I bought, but it does a great job. So I believe it's a Wilkinson debleeder, if everybody's asking. I think it's Wilkinson. I haven't got it in my head yet for the name. My other gates, this free one, it's right there. It's free. Works great. You don't have to buy shit. Some of the free stuff works as good or better. But for me, I love to experiment. So that's a scoop. So I'm eliminating that, and that now will not create an extra sound in the final mix. In fact, the more stuff you clean up, the better your mix sounds, especially on the drums. Now, I warn you though, if you start cutting things out like this and you lose track of things and you accidentally move part of the kick drums over, kick drum tracks, and you don't notice it, you can screw a lot of stuff up, and you won't even realize until you're doing the final mix, and you wonder why these kick drums and other things are out of sync with the overhead mics. And then you start creating these weird phasing problems. So you got to be really careful. Do one section at a time. Make sure that you're doing it right. It's hard to correct a mistake. I did once one of my own songs years ago, and I was fiddling around with that, and by the time I was finished, the track sounded clean, but I goofed in a couple of areas and didn't realize it, and the only way to fix it was to redo the whole drum track. So it was just too much work to rebuild and make it sound good. And the bonus of that was I redid the drum track, and it turned out better than the original drum track I laid down. I think it was out of frustration. I focused on it and just nailed it, and I got it on the first take. So I like to nail my drum tracks on the first and second takes. So if I don't get it on those two takes and on the day I'm recording, I might push for a third, but if I push a third and it don't happen, I shut her all down. I don't even bother. doing it again. I've only got lucky a couple of times in my lifetime where tracked 8, the 8th time I did it was the winner. I won't do that. It's just so time consuming, especially with me being by myself here, to have to operate the recording board and stuff like that. So, but anyways, so that's the scoop. So back to what I've been doing. I'm basically doing that. I'm doing model cars still. I'm playing around with that. I'm getting back into airbrushing. Like I've always airbrushed, but airbrushing like for art. But I took a break from it. Obviously the shaky hands, but I'm going to do bigger paintings that allow me to to at least airbrush without my hands shaking to shit, ruining what I'm doing. If I'm doing small stuff, I can't do it anymore. My shakes are so bad. People keep asking about that, and I've had it all my life, but it's gotten worse in the last little while. Playing drums actually helps it to control it, so that's why I practice every day. It's just a therapy for that. I don't realize that it's shaking. My hands are shaking. It's just, I've been checked out for it, and it's like a thing some people have, and it's not like Parkinson's and stuff like that. So I'm totally fine that way. But I did work in the body shops for years, and that may have contributed to it with the harsh chemicals. Could have made it worse. So it's the only thing they say. Like some of these things, there was a product called High Solage, which if you read the warning label on this thing, you'd wonder why they even have this in body shops. And kind of scary. I got out of the body shop business because of that chemical. I looked at it, and it's like we were spraying it, and the product did great at the time on the vehicles, but I read that label and it scared the shit out of me. But we did use it for a while, and so don't know. But the issue's gotten worse. Doesn't affect me playing, except for maybe speed. So I'm definitely not as fast as I used to be, but that could be age too. But a little bit on control. I find my hands used to be pretty close for control. Like my left hand was close to my right for being matched in power and control and speed, but it's not. It's starting to separate now. I don't know why. It could be all that shitty music I played for 13 years with the band I left, because it felt like it was the same drum beat in every song. There was like hardly anything different. So things we do for money. So yeah, so that's the scoop. Definitely getting back into cycling, and I haven't left cycling. It's just this winter has been horrible here. So normally I ride in the winter a lot, but not this year. It was just crazy. Get killed out there with the snow we had this year. So that's the scoop. I'm down here every day right now having fun with this. So, and like I say, I got 6 originals done. They're almost done, I should say. So they'll be posted in due time. As for the Flat Stanley stuff, we've been working on this so long. Should have been done a long time ago, but COVID just screwed everything up. That was like a whole bunch of years we couldn't get things going. So to finish off, and I was doing it myself and got a lot done. But man, 22 songs. Some of these, like some of the songs, they're all in a prog rock kind of vibe, but there's some that are a little more top 40ish poppy maybe. But there were so many tracks because we had keyboard tracks and multiple guitars and multiple vocals, and yeah, so definitely a long process. So to have that COVID time, I just had to do something. I was going stir crazy not playing live, so that's a scoop. And so watch for filling gigs that I'm playing in. I usually post when I'm filling in for bands. Bourbon Blue, I think I filled in like 4 times the last little while. The drummers, it wasn't a sick related thing. It was just a scheduling thing. He had other things he had to do with his job and whatever else. Vacation too with the family. So yeah, so I'm open for fill-ins, and like I say, still searching for a full-time band. If somebody wants a drummer or even bass, I'll play bass. So I love bass playing too. So, but in the meantime, I'm still trying to get these 2 projects going. So I need to find the right people. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll keep you posted on more music from this Screaming Mosquito Studio.
Consider my online 1,000 yards kept twitching.